Zack stared at the map hanging above the dining room table and silently took it in. "It's the same, or at least it's mostly the same," he said at last. Tessa looked up from where she was playing with Zara and the bears to it. "Yeah, I noticed that earlier as well. There are a few differences, but for the most part, the shape of the continents and all worlds look the same." Zara nodded. "I've been wondering if that's a coincidence, or if there was some kind of meaning behind it. Then I decided the chance of us ever learning the truth was slim to none. Right now, I'm just glad that I can take a hot shower again." The bears had already undergone a magical cleaning, courtesy of Charles. Spending a week and a half in the jungle fighting constantly had left them absolutely disgusting. They were much better now. Each of the teens had enjoyed some serious time in the showers, scrubbing away the caked-on blood and grime. It had been refreshing, but it had further highlighted the terrible condition of their uniforms. Zack and Zara were fine, since they were wearing the Chauvain-made suits that Zara's magic had modified underneath. Tessa, on the other hand, didn't have anything of the sort. She had only been wearing the uniform she had crossed over with. There was a soft knock at the door. Despite the early hour, they were all awake after having gone to bed early the night before. Tessa hopped up and opened the apartment door. "Hello. Sylvie, right?" Standing before them was a girl slightly younger than Zara, with silver hair, a long, fluffy tail, and wolf's ears. "That's me. Charles wanted me to come up and get you for breakfast." She cast a critical eye at the terrible condition of their clothes. "But maybe we should make a stop at the store for some clothes first?" Zack held back a groan at the thought of shopping for clothes again with Tessa and Zara. It had been an interesting experience the last time, but not one he necessarily wanted to do before breakfast. He didn't mind spending time with the girls. It wasn't like he had anything else going on at the moment anyway. He just didn't want to spend that much time doing anything before they got the chance to eat. "Don't worry," Sylvie grinned at him. "The store doesn't have much variety for clothes, so it won't take a lot of time." He stared at her suspiciously for a moment, wondering if the young girl was able to read his mind. "Shall we?" The small bear George led the way, with Aisha and Zelda hot on his heels as the rest of their group left the borrowed apartment behind. The three bears trundled down the steps, hopping down multiples at a time, competing to see who could jump the farthest. Zelda kept overbalancing with her large blade, while George was being dragged by the metal gauntlets on his fists. Only Aisha was doing semi-all right, with her bow and full quiver, although the quiver kept spilling arrows everywhere. Sylvie covered her mouth, hiding a grin. The sharp bite of winter air tore through them as they walked out of the warm building. The early morning had barely been touched by the sun and was freezing cold. They hurried to follow after the young girl, who led them to another building across the way. "Hi, Lars. I need to buy some warm clothes for these three," Sylvie announced as they followed her inside. Floating in the air, above the long counter where people received their items, was a reclining man reading a book. He looked down at them and sighed. "I can't sell anything to them." "We figured as much. I'll buy everything." Sylvie turned to face them. "I don't suppose you know what your sizes are, do you?" "I'm more curious if the way we measure clothes is even the same," Tessa muttered. It was. Or rather, the spots they measured were the same. They used a different type of measurement scale that required the appearance of a tape measure. The entire time this was happening beneath him, Lars read his book and pretended they didn't exist. The clothes they eventually ended up with were warm, tough, well-made, and utterly normal-looking. A pair of worn jeans, black boots, a long-sleeve shirt that was a different color for each of them, and then a jacket. That was not including the pairs of underclothes that they also received to replace everything. The clothes looked like any other pair they had seen people wearing around the town. However, they were warm and better made than their old uniforms. "Come on, we need to hurry. Charles probably already had breakfast waiting for us a while ago," Sylvie said, pushing them back towards the apartment building.